How's it going, YouTube? Another video here for you. This one's topic is on the Oldsmobile. Now, a few years ago, I made a video here at this very same park. It was down over the hill there, but I wanted to get some new shots, and this seemed like this could be a nice spot. This is my 1983 Oldsmobile 98. And we're coming up on 8 years. Now, we just approached 8 years with this car. I've had it. The last video I was 25, I think was the big video I made on this car. So I've had it for a while. Some things have changed. I'm gonna see if I can get some old footage brought up from a few years ago. I mean, the car's seen some stuff over the years. I mean, it's not a garage car cruising queen that only comes out in the nicest of weather. It does get to see the weather a little bit, so it ages. Now it is kept better than what, you know, an everyday daily driver, and it's been far from a daily driver, at least in the last few years here. Early on in the car, when I bought it, I did drive the car considerably more, to the point that I guess you could probably consider it a daily driver. So it did see a lot more use then. Now it kind of has been reserved to the days off, going out to car shows, taking it out in nice weather. I went fishing with it once, that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really get the daily abuse that it once did. So that being said, after coming up on 8 years, the car is turning 8 years of ownership, and the car is turning 40 this year. My impressions on how the car has been. Now, I bought the car with 54,000 miles on it. You can see that in some of my earlier videos. That was original mileage from everything I can tell. There's no documentation speaking otherwise. The car was originally bought new in Export, Pennsylvania at Watson Chevrolet Buick Oldsmobile. I believe it was ordered to the lot by the dealer and was bought off of the lot. I don't believe it was a special order from what I can see. It is the 98 Regency Brougham. It is originally white, code 11, lacquer paint, and that is the Cadillac Cotillion white. It has the red autumn maple velour interior. And the top originally was a autumn maple vinyl. That has been since removed. Unfortunately, the time of age has shown its wear. Now there is some rust in the upper quarters here. I did patch up, and it will need redone again. I've been procrastinating on getting the new vinyl on it as a fear of messing it up, and I don't want to make it terrible, so I may end up getting somebody to do it. But before then, this summer here, I'm going to get this redone, and I'm going to do it better than what I did the first time. But you can see there is some remnants of the original vinyl right here, and you can tell it is not autumn maple much anymore. This quarter here has been resprayed on the bottom half. You might see in some of the early videos there was some dime or quarter size rust bubbles on this fender, quarter panel here, due to rock chips. They weren't holes. One had a tiny pinhole, I should correct that. But I've since gotten that resprayed with the matching Cotillion white. I should say I resprayed it with the matching Cotillion white. Other than that, cosmetically, the car has not changed much. In addition, I did put these on here, the vent visors. This has a clear coat or a plasti dip on it, which I wish I could get off at this stage. These are the original opera lights, which were not functioning. They were the electroluminescent. They've been since retrofitted with LEDs that look okay. Some of my earlier, younger bodge jobs. One of the things that I did on this car is I did replace all the speakers, and I did that what everybody likes to do when they get a new car, which was retrofit a aftermarket radio. And as you can see, that is no longer in here. It has been restored back to its former glory of the cassette deck, which I did put new belts in, so it is fully functioning now. I kind of want to get, it is a manual tuner. It is a non-power tuner. It's like a analog tuner and a very analog cassette deck. And I kind of do want to get one of the digital ones from the era to put in here, but I have found they have become very expensive. So it's gonna be a journey to find one, but you know, I got nothing but time. The front filler, I did repaint the front fillers, but I did it very, very quickly last year, and you can kind of tell. So this is what was happening to them, and I resprayed them, but it has peeled back off because I did not do a good enough prep job. The other side's still holding up okay, but we're gonna redo that this year. These tires I've had on there for several years. These are the Nexans. Highly recommend. I did up them to a 225 75 15 from the 215 75 15. A little bit wider of a tire, a little bit taller, but it does grip and ride so much better. And honestly, I might go to a 235 and maybe see if I can go to like a 235 65 maybe. I don't know, we'll see. We got to figure that all out in due time. These tires are great. I'm not going to change them anytime soon. But overall, the car has held up really well, and it's been a great car as far as reliability. It really hasn't let me down. Now the car is 40 years old and has been coming up to 40 years old, so it has needed its parts. It's had a radiator, 2 sets of spark plugs, 2 sets of wires, a cap and rotor, 2 alternators, 2 water pumps, a fuel tank, rebuilt carburetor. What else? These headlights are retrofit lights I found on eBay. They look like original, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but they are LED. That helped when I drove the car at night back in the day. Doesn't really see nighttime driving a whole lot now, in part because of the antique license plates. It's typically only if it's out at car cruises and such. So they help in those situations. But all in all, I mean, even with everything that has had to be done to the car, I mean, that's not uncalled of for something this age. So it's held up really well. We're at 72,000 miles now and had 54 on it when I bought it. It had 4 sets of brake pads on the front, and now this is my second set of rotors that I put on it. These are the power stops, which I've been very happy with so far. I might make a review on them, I'm not sure. I did make a video about me putting them on there, a very rough cut of me installing them. They have yet to warp, but I do notice that under heavy downhill braking, they do fade. Now it doesn't seem to be as bad now that they're really bedded in. They probably got about 1,000 miles on them by now. I've been driving it a fair amount this summer so far. It's been a nice summer. And kind of got some reunited flames for the car this year. So I've been trying to do right by it and kind of restore some of the stuff that I did in my younger years, and along with, you know, fixing up the stuff that needed to be done. Along with that, I do have drums on order for the rear, and I do have new shoes for the rear. From all accounts, they appear to be the original drums, and I would assume the pads or shoes have been replaced at one point. There are new wheel cylinders in the rear. I forgot about that. Has all new brake lines, an exception of the one running down the body of the car. What else? I mean, all in all, I mean, it's just the other stuff's all stupid stuff, like oil changes, air filter. It has the K&N in it, so I never replace that. I just clean it and recharge it yearly. The AC still works in the car. Did some dashboard lights, a few interior lights here and there, you know, things like that. It really hasn't needed a whole lot over the years here. Has a newer wiper motor in it. That was from when I bought the car. I'm really at a loss. I mean, the exhaust, but that's all stuff you expect out of any car that, you know, sees the elements and age and time, you're gonna have to do that stuff. Has a new cat. I did that before I decided to put antique plates on it. Now I don't technically have to have it, but whatever. All the computer attached stuff is still working, and I plan to keep it that way. It's still computer controlled carburetor, still computer controlled distributor, all in which until a point in which in time that stuff begins to fail or fails. And if parts are not available or too cumbersome to try to install or figure out, maybe then it'll get a older 70s style quadrajet and the older style distributor. But honestly, something I would probably consider by then is maybe the kits have been gone cheaper and go with like a Holley Sniper system on it. I feel like that could be good to go fuel injected, I know. But if it would help with fuel economy and it would help with drivability, it might not be a bad thing. So, you know, it's who's to say what the future will hold. I'm really anxious to see, you know, the 10-year mark hit with this car, and it's coming up quick. And I can't believe this is the longest I've ever owned a single vehicle in my fleet. I started out with my 90 Pontiac Grand Prix and transitioned over to a 2002 Chevy Blazer. Had that 72 Grand Prix for a while. I got a 2012 Nissan Altima. Then had this in between all of that. So this came along with the Blazer and has outlived the Blazer and the Altima in my life. Now I have the 21 Kia K5. So I've had some vehicles, and this one has kind of stayed. It's very sentimental to me. It has a little bit of a history in my life. And with that sentimental, this car, I don't see it going away anytime soon. But it goes to show you that if you care for something, you take good care of it, you do the maintenance, you do repairs as they're needed, you keep the car clean, you keep the car out of the elements as far as the salt, don't drive it on the salt here in Pennsylvania, that things can last. And I tell you, they don't make cars like this anymore, and it's sad because a lot of people may never get to experience what these cars were about. This car is not your sporty, you know, gas sipping economy car, any of those. This was full American luxury, and it was the end of an era. They didn't make many more of these cars after this generation. This was pretty much the end of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, big barges, the land yachts. And it's sad that some people just will never get to experience it. The ride of this car is far above any new car I've ever ridden in. And the driving of this car, it's just the feeling of having the windows down, even though the AC works. AC is a modern luxury. I don't consider it as something that I would use regularly in this car. This car is all about the driving experience, putting down the windows, cruising down a back road, cranking the tunes, putting a cassette in the deck, enjoying life, enjoying the wonderful outdoors that we're currently enjoying here. So I kind of went off on a side tangent here. I'm probably going to make a second video while I'm at it here on a separate topic, but this was kind of my 8 years video here and where we're at with the car. Future plans, like I said, I may do a rear drum brake video, maybe. I really need to get that vinyl top on this summer. That's got to happen. We're already halfway through June, but it's got to get done. And I think we'll be in a lot better place with the car. I do have some touch-ups I got to do. That rear back here, there's some weirdness going on underneath that trim down there that I was aware of that needs to be done. I really should just bite the bullet and buy that trim panel that goes through there. I have one on the other side that came off the car that I got that filler from at the junkyard. I just never, and I respray that filler too with the correct cotillion white. But it's just all things that, you know, they're minor things and they're cosmetic things, and I have bigger projects in store for this car. So hopefully I'll get some of that accomplished this year. Money and time is the biggest one. So we'll see. But I want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed my 8-year update on this car for those that want to watch it and know more about it. I know this car doesn't necessarily bring the biggest following and doesn't have the highest views on the channel. My Kia has really taken over the highest views on the channel, at least in the early days of the Kia. Now it's kind of become an everyday thing and everybody's got them, and I was the only one that had one for a while here. So, all right, but like I said, again, thank you for watching. I'm gonna make a second video here, so stay tuned for that video as well. It's gonna be talking about something a little different involving this car. All right, thanks.